the fact that you allow someone to do cash in, cash out does not mean they're financially included. Right? Financial inclusion goes beyond being able to just go to a POS and then withdraw and all of that. Because the idea of financial inclusion must result into financial prosperity.
Nigeria has a population of 200 million people, and 30% are still unbanked. This is the premise for which a lot of startups and fintechs have raised thousands and thousands and millions of dollars. And while we have made significant progress in the industry, there are still a lot of phases and milestones to achieve. Today, I and my guests, a BOI consultant and co-founder Habila, we discuss the opportunities and challenges, and try to find a way around how we can bring financial inclusion to the unbanked and undeserved.
My name is Tunde. I'm the Vice President of Growth at Crust. Crust is a digital bank for farmers, for agribusinesses, and for every player in the agriculture value chain. We think of it as a living and breathing ecosystem and community where everyone in the agro space get to interact financially. Our goal is to help everyone in the space move money easily and improve the ease of doing business across the agro value chain.
Welcome, Tunde.
Thank you very much.
It's good to have you. It's been, it was not really easy trying to get you on this show. I mean, we've had to postpone it and all.
And then we're busy making money.
Yeah, I hope we made enough money.
No, it's enough yet. In the blue economy. So.
Okay, nice. Just getting straight into this, right?
Yeah.
With the rise of fintechs, from neobanks to digital banking to agency banking, and all the other variants of fintechs, how close are we to achieving financial inclusion?
If you're to ask how close are we, I'm going to give you the book, How Close, and my thoughts.
Okay, of course.
Right, and this is also, since we're shaping perspective, this is also to, help the audience. So according to the last FINA report, shows that 74% of Nigerians are banked.
Okay.
Which include those that are in the banking sector, those in the formal sector. Formal sector is those that are within the regulated space, meaning that they don't have a bank account, but they use any of these neobanks platform, so they are within the regulated confines of that that's all regulations. Then there's the informal sector. They are financially included, but they are not within the regulated space, so they also term them as financially included. So the last FINA report says about 74% has been financially in Nigeria financially included.
Included, yeah.
So in that sense, it looks like we're close.
Yeah, it does.
But I kind of have a different thought. And the different thought for me is the fact that you allow someone to do cash in, cash out does not mean they're financially included. Right? Financial inclusion goes beyond being able to just go to a POS and then withdraw, all of that. Because the idea of financial inclusion must result into financial prosperity. Because that's the goal, right? In the sense that I must be able to save. It's not just payments. There's savings. There's insurance. There's
mortgage.
Yeah, mortgage, credits. There's a whole lot of things that is included, which I think that we are still far from that reality in Nigeria.
Yeah.
So you see, even in the banked areas or bank communities in Nigeria, how many people have insurance?
Let's not ask that question too much.
Yeah.
Let's not.
How many people have savings?
Yeah.
Do you get? How many people can actually access credit from the bank? Right? Of course, aside people just going downloading Fair Money and then on all the different lending apps, right? How many people can actually access credit? So these are conversations that we need to have. And for me, I feel that if we don't get to that point, we can't really say that we are financially included. You must be able to save. You must be able to access credit. You must be able to, and meaning access credit, meaning you must be able to build wealth. You must be able to insure your goods. Because what's the essence of, yes, having a POS, I can do cash in, cash out. My son can send money to me from Lagos if I'm in Saminaka in Kaduna, sorry. Yeah, my child can send money to me, and then I can wake up and flood all my farmland, and there's nothing I can do. I start from ground zero again, right? Would you say that person is financially included? You
That's
say
a
that person has access to finance products.
Yeah.
You say, because I can't. I mean, this is just there. You get.
Yeah.
So these are some of the conversations I think that we need to have. Or in some of those, even in those locations, there are no proper infrastructure. But so I still feel we're still far from it.
Oh, that's a very nice perspective. I mean, coming on here, I was really thinking about people in remote areas in my head. I'm financially included, but now, you're making me see that I might not really be financially included as,
No,
I should.
Fully.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, you're a big man.
Okay, you say so.
You're not financially included.
Yeah.
But, there's some products. You have access to those products.
Yes.
The fact that you're not using it does not mean you don't have access
True.
to it. So you want an insurance, for example, you can simply, on your phone, you can look for one insurance agency, or you can download a mobile app, and then before you know what, voila, you're insured. You don't need to stress yourself.
Yeah.
Right. So you have access to those things. So you are financially included.
Yeah.
But there are some that don't have access to these things. There are some that can't even open a bank account. There are locations in the northern part of the country that to get access to a bank account, you need to be on the bike for 3 hours.
So how do we solve this problem? I mean, you've talked about access. So access is the biggest problem, I guess.
Yeah.
If we have access to some of these things right now, and maybe we don't use them, and people in Kaduna, Kano, and other parts of, maybe the remote areas, I'm talking about in the remote areas of all these parts, don't have access to these things. What would you say are the first steps to making sure that we can reach people in the remote areas of Abia, remote areas of Delta states, and every part of Nigeria? I mean, this is very, very important to me. Getting people to be very financially included in, I wonder why it's not just from the perspective of the entrepreneur. I'm hoping that my grandma, my uncles in the village can easily access funds, and they can easily, build wealth. I think that's one thing that we need to talk a lot about.
Yeah.
They can also build wealth. They can have they can be knowledgeable enough to know how to build wealth. Yeah. So when we have access to all of these things, we know we have access to apps that can help us build wealth. They don't have access to those things. And even if they were to know about them, they might not be able to use them at this time. So the question will be, how do we start? How do we get all these things that we have access to them?
Okay, thank you very much for that question. It's a pocket of so many things. You can't just do one and leave one, right? And I will explain them, and I'll also tell you some of the issues we're having in Nigeria and why we're having those issues, right, in terms of financial inclusion. So when it comes to layering the foundation of financial inclusion, there's something we call the public good. These are things that you expect from government to do or create platforms to help you. So I'm going to start. Number one is there has to be some infrastructure like connectivity. At the moment, right, 49% of people in the world don't have access to internet at all.
All over the world.
All over the world. So it means that there's still work to be done globally. And not to talk of those of us, even in the United States, there are people that are not online. Now, I'm not even pushing online because, to have financial access with a USSD, you can do something. There are places in this Nigeria that when you get to, there is no network.
No 2G.
No 2G, no even 1G. There's not even any G at all, right? There are places like that. Because of the work I do, in the agro space too, I tend to go to this location.
Yeah.
So there are no network at all. So how do you expect that person to have access to financial inclusion? In fact, I'll tell you this for a fact, that most of the money point and co, we usually, when we buy terminals, most of the agency banking platforms, when we buy terminals from China, we usually step it down. Did you get, so that yes,
to fit
our connection.
network
And still there are some locations that don't have network at all. So connectivity is very, very important. There's digital ID, digital identity. I mean, NIMC is doing a fantastic job when it comes to digital identity. NIMC, BVN, fantastic project. But we need to increase our pace. And not just collecting your biometrics data and that's it. No, not just that. We have to have what we call, I have to have the power as the one giving you that data.
Yeah.
I should know what you are using my data to do.
Okay.
And this will build trust because it's part of the last thing I'm going to talk about, which is education. So if I give you my data, if I submit my data to Money Points, if I submit my data to Fair Money, how do you use it? What do you use it to do? I must know. I must be able to give you consent, which is what the Indian has done very well with is it Anda or something, Andka or something, I can't remember the name now. There's consent. I won't be able to give you consent. If I delete my Money Point app or my Fair Money app or any of you, I don't know how to mention Money Points so that they will not come as soon. So, if I delete any of my mobile money app, right, will my record be deleted on that platform?
Okay.
Yes, there's NDPR, right? But NDPR did not give us a laid-down structure on how
data is used.
Data consent. Yes, They can use my data well, ensure that it doesn't fall into the wrong and blah, blah, and all of that. But can I withdraw my consent? And this is how, because, we take me to the next point, which is phone. Yes, there's phone penetration in Nigeria, about 93%, which is very good.
Yes, the last time I checked, it was maybe around 60-something%, and we've gone to 90%. That's a lot.
Now, according to the last FNR report, which is very good, right? Because phone is personal. Did you get? But from that, my phone, I should be able to give you consent to use my data or withdraw consent. And I think that's the future. That's where we need to get to.
Yeah.
Right? And that's where I see NIMC need to get to. Beyond the fact that, yes, we've collected all this data, as we use the data to the different app, right? Otherwise, somebody would just come one day and just build a app. And it happened. It happened during the influx of, illegal lending apps in Nigeria. Some of those Chinese illegal lending apps that came into Nigeria. Somebody come in to tell you can collect this amount of money for this ridiculous amount of interest. And then you go on the platform, you sign in, you put in your BVN, you put in all your data, and voila, this guy have access to all your contacts.
Yeah.
And then when you cannot pay, they start harassing you, harassing your contact, harassing everybody. And this just tell you that people don't trust. This just tell you how people can begin to lose trust, in the data that we claim that we are sharing, because or the platform that we have. Because if you remember, if you talk to any elderly person about use this app, they tell you, if they will not steal my money, I'm not going to give them my data, because people still don't trust platforms.
Okay, so you're talking about, so what you've talked about so far is just
infrastructure that will lead
build
us
on trust.
Yeah, trust.
So people can only give us data. People can only want to use applications and the infrastructure. Even when we build infrastructure and provide them access, there has to be a level of trust so people can start to use it. We on this end, we have some level of trust in the system, but
even we on this end, right, we are still doing it based on the fact that, this is what is done globally, right? But deep down, if a new app launches and say, you want to take your time before you just sign up and put your BVN.
Yeah, you talked about education, right?
Yes. So the last phase of it, so the other phase of it, so there's before I go, I want education to be the last. There's also interoperability.
Okay.
Right? Of course, NIPS is doing well on that, but they need to proper interoperability so that I don't need to download this app to fill in my data on this app.
And then this is very important. This is very important. It is
so now to us it's normal, but to the average rural woman or rural man, it might be stressful for them.
So you're basically talking about these things being easy.
Do you get?
Yes.
So if I go on, let me use money right now. Maybe if I go on Pampay, right? If I go on Pampay, I'm giving you my data. I'm going on OPay. I'm giving you my data again.
Exactly.
Do you understand?
It's crazy.
So I don't know why I cannot just
Give you my
a particular
link
link
or something, and then
it just covers, it takes off.
you know how bad this thing you've just talked about is, and this is just a little digression. My SIM was bad. My MTN SIM was bad, right? And I had to go get a new SIM. I had to fill form again.
Yeah, do you go?
Use my number now and get.
And then the next thing is just, okay, let's update your record. You know, your address. Are you still living in the same address? Can we take your passport, your face shot again, just to be sure that yes, you get. That's just it. But you know, they will still want you to update. I mean, they will still want you to fill form afresh again as if. And these records are on their server. All they just need to do is just to call it and confirm. That's it. So these are some of the things that we need to solve. Then we now look at financial education. From financial education, we can sell insurance. Say, guy, if you have this farm and you've planted maize or you've planted grain, you've planted paddy rice, don't just leave it like that. If in case anything happens, insure your farm so that when there is flood, there is stealing, there is spoilage, there is anything, insurance can take up the responsibility.
Yeah.
Right? You can now begin to talk about savings. You know, instead of you giving one Baba money to help you keep, and then the Baba dies, and then you can't see your money again. Save on this banking app, save on this platform. You can be saving and building wealth. And not just that, this Baba will collect one day, maybe as you're doing your daily savings, he will say the first day of every month is his own percentage. When you can have platform that you can save, build interest or profit sharing, and do what we call compounded interest. Because you can't build wealth without compounding interest, right? So there's compounding interest or compounding profit, as the case may be. Okay, so the next line is financial education. That is where you begin to educate them. That's where we have insurance, because you need to educate people to understand how insurance works. They need to have an understanding, right? There's this Islamic insurance called Takaful. I love it, right? They need to push that.
Halal, Takaful.
Yeah, it's called Takaful. Yeah, where if I insure a product, for example, and nothing happened to me, you pay me part of my money back.
Oh.
Do you get? Because nothing happened. I didn't use the premium. So you pay me some. So I mean, it has its own difference. So I mean, these are things that they need to pass on, right? So as a farmer in Saminaka, I know that when I plant maize, I plant grain or paddy rice, and then it just makes sense to insure it in case of flooding, right? So or maybe in case of all pests or diseases, spoilage, and all of that. So it just makes sense to insure straight up, right? So these are some part of the education, how to manage money. There's a place of compound interest, compounding profit. You really cannot build well without compounding profit. If you go to those farmers' region, they just want cash. Reason being that they don't understand, you know. They would rather take that cash, go and give it to one old man somewhere to help them keep it. Whereas there are platforms that they can trust and put their money.
So trust is a big deal.
Trust is the fundamental.
What is the importance of technology in driving? Obviously, if you say fintech, let me put it this way: what is the importance of technology in driving financial inclusion? I mean, the real work or hard work started with technology. I mean, when people like InterSwitch started some time ago, but even before then, some things were done manually with banks and all. I'm trying to say, with what currently exists, with the fact that we would need technology, we would need education, and maybe a bunch of things in order to reach people who are currently financially excluded. Are there things that we could be doing, that maybe startups could do? Those things would definitely be very hard work, but they need to do. Just like probably agency banking is doing something like that, but it does it with technology, But are there things that businesses can do right now that will help people who are not financially included, come on, or become financially included, as the case may be, without really, really stressing the need for internet connectivity and apps and all of those?
Yeah, truth be told, right, there's hardly anything you can do without connectivity. right? Because we call it fintech. Fintech is literally technology services that literally assists financial services, right? Or yeah, basically. So technology services built on financial services. That's simple as that. So there has to be technology. I think beyond some of those things that I've said, I think in the area of education, both private and public organizations need to come together. The CBN or whichever organization that is driving that, and private businesses. It has to be part of your policy when you are getting your license. That's a part of your job. So CBN needs to ensure that as a fintech, we are giving you this license, but you also need to educate the masses. It's not just go to one particular village and set up agency banking and say, hey, I have agency banking. No. The work is beyond agency banking. So it has to be part of it. Especially those that have licenses that have wallet licenses that allow them to save, keep money and all. You have to also propagate the gospel. Right? We are still at the teaching stage. So there has to be proper evangelism. And so what CBN is doing today is they're just putting that work on themselves alone and blaming themselves for not achieving. Whereas there are places you get to in this country that you probably, it could take you 4 hours to get there. I bet you see a money point up there, you see an OP up there.
Yeah.
So what that means is that OP will be able to educate the masses in that community more than CBN.
Yeah.
So that's why I say it has to be public-private partnership thing, right? Pretty much that's just it.
Okay, nice. So there's this cliche that says that, and there's been a roar online, consistent, talking about businesses, startups, fintechs doing the same thing without, a lot of different. Yes. But from what you have said, there's quite a lot to do. The spectrum is broad.
Exactly. There's still a lot to do, right? See, let me tell you something. US has over 10,000 fintechs. United States, China has about 2,000. I don't think we are up to 1,000 in Nigeria yet.
Well, I read, I think like 200 or so.
So we have not started, right? And these are countries that has numbers like Nigeria too. So we've not started.
Are people running away from the hard work? We need more people down there. It's like upstream. It has become like oil, upstream, downstream.
Yeah, we need more people to do the work, which is why I said CBN has to find a way to tie people down. In fact, it could even be, we'll probably give you an incentive if you can deliver this number of people building wealth through your platform.
Yeah.
Did you get? For example, I was surprised when I saw a microfinance bank license and I went through the policy, the old microfinance bank work, and I saw that there's micro insurance inside. So if you have a microfinance bank license, you can actually do micro insurance. And a lot of fintechs don't even care about that.
Yeah.
So CBN has to, maybe there's an incentive they will give you. It could be maybe for you to be able to access the BOI loan that they give most microfinance bank. You must show some level of, I have fully banked, not just cash in, cash out, fully banked some number of people in these villages or in this rural community, and they are verifiable. Do you get? Not just anyone, verifiable. So CBN needs to find a way to manage all of this processes very well. Yeah. So I think, So
in a few words, let's just highlighting a few of them. What should people be building more? What are the opportunities? You've talked about it. We've talked broadly about it, but if we were just to list them, what are the opportunities that exist, even if they're hard? And what exactly do you think people should be building in order to get us, maybe 99.9% people banked people in, say, in the next 10 years?
Okay. Number one, people need to, connectivity is an issue. So people need to solve for that. Broadband access to rural areas, connectivity is really an issue. Because the future is not even agency banking. The agency banking will fade because it will go out of space soon, sooner than even we expected, right? Because once connectivity is in those locations, people will probably switch to mobile banking.
Yeah.
Right? I still think mobile banking will be like the future. before we get to the whole full AI and so many other things, embedded financing in AI and all those things, right? So I think people need to solve for connectivity.
But that's actually outside of the space of fintech.
It's still part of the infrastructure that fintech is layered on.
Yeah.
Right. There's also on fintech too. There needs to be financial education. So I'm expecting to see that, and I'm not expecting to see maybe a startup saying, "No, I'm into financial education," because you don't make money, just don't pay for education. So I'm expecting that the big fintechs begin to build, what's it called? Maybe as part of their CSR, begin to build financial platforms that educate the masses, especially people in the areas where they...
Or just campaigns, because campaigns, there are no platforms in rural areas for small
campaigns. And if you look at which is one of the I love what MoneyPoint and OP have done, they start with agency banking. From there, they move into business banking. Then from there, they move into personal banking. That's the progression. Do you understand?
Yeah, started from the...
So now, yes, we can see you're doing payments. So let us help you bank your business. Your business too needs to be banked. We need to help you keep your money. We need to help you invest your money. And then there's the personal banking, which is why I said mobile banking is also a very big thing, right? It will be a big thing in the future, which is now you know that you have access to payments. You know that, yes, you bank your business. Now, what about you? Let us help you grow well.
So mobile banking, does it have anything to do with mobile money? What's the...
It's still part of it. It's still part of it too. But, according to the CBN license, you can operate a wallet. Once you can operate a wallet, you can run a mobile banking platform. People can save, like what we're doing at Habila.
Yeah.
People can save, people can grow well, people can put their money there, make transfers. People can connect to NIPS and make instant payments and all of that, yeah.
So I read an article recently, where the World Bank talked about mobile money being something that would really help to bridge the gap between. It talks about it as the future, basically, that what Nigeria really needs. My question would be, but I don't see a lot of people playing in that space. I can count just a handful of people that's for mobile money, not just payments with mobile money. We just have a handful, and those are really, really big companies.
So I think you are mixing it, and I'll explain why. So mobile money, what is mobile money? Maybe finance or fintech that is tied to your phone.
Yes.
Sort of. Right. So I download the MoneyPoint app. It's still mobile money. It's just this, right? Let me explain. So in countries, the only difference between the popular mobile money like the M-Pesa is that the M-Pesa is telco-led mobile money. In Nigeria, we're doing what we call bank-led mobile money.
Yeah.
So it is bank that is powering our mobile money.
Yeah.
So we're still doing mobile money.
Yes, I get it. No, I get it.
Yeah. So people still play there. Once I have a wallet that you can download, it's still part of it.
Yeah, I wonder why Glow. I doubt that Glow has got into mobile money as such.
Yeah, they got a mobile money license.
But we've not really seen.
But all the network got mobile money. But even all of that mobile money, the way the CBN has structured it, is still bank-led.
Oh.
There needs to be a bank that powers them.
Oh, I see.
It's not like the
okay, that have very,
and then you can do transactions with airtime and all.
So do you think that this should be formed like part of the regulatory framework for accessing? Because I wonder why they should be tied to the bank again.
So I think
it probably limits it.
Yeah. I think that's the reason why we have that slow pace.
Yes.
Unlike in Kenya where everybody has access to it. So that's the reason why we have that slow pace, because for a long time, Nigerian banks, a lot of people didn't trust them because there was a phase where almost every bank was crashing and people lose their money. Right? There was a particular phase. My own dad my mom lost a lot of money. The defunct, is it Standard? What's the name of that bank?
Standard Trust?
No, it's not Standard Trust. I'm forgetting the name of this bank. There's this particular bank, right, that she lost a lot of money because we were paying her salary there and she used to save there. So she lost a lot of money.
Intercontinental? Not before Intercontinental?
Not even before Intercontinental.
It's probably been long. I'm not sure I was one there.
These Lebanese guys, I've forgotten the name of the bank, right?
Okay.
We just skip my head though.
Yeah, okay.
So that she lost a lot of money. So these are some of so a lot of people have lost that trust. So now we're just building it and it's still bank that's powering it. So it will take time.
Okay, we'll try and wrap up.
That's the reason,
We'll try and wrap up right now. I think that the last bits of words that we're going to, information we're going to dish out would be reforms. I feel like government has like a lot of,
a lot of reforms.
Yeah, a lot of things that needs to be done, and I wonder why the government is not, very quick with this. We've had cashless policy and all. You can't do cashless policy when there's some people who need cash, who don't have access to cashless, but what are the very, very important, necessary reforms that the government needs to start to look into in order to ensure that people can, and honestly, if I were to ask myself that question, I would say detach the banks from the telcos in order to drive this money.
They want to do that because of the fact that, CBN manages it, and CBN is most CBN governors are bankers.
Yeah,
so
that's sad though. That's sad. They need to find a way around it.
Yeah.
But what other things must governments do today? Maybe 3 things that government should do today in order to get people on the other end of the world, closer to financial.
Yeah. So one of the things I think I expect from CBN is CBN needs to have like a fintech committee, the way we have bankers committee, where they meet regularly and discuss things.
NTOs and all.
So I think CBN needs to have like that committee where every month we need to meet to discuss how we're going to move our nation forward in this particular space, because we don't have that. So, and because we don't have that, what we have now is we now have a regulator that is reactive rather than being proactive.
Yeah.
So, and for example, I know NIP started with the whole consent agreements ID thing, with the old AI machine learning thing and embedded finance thing, where you can, and that's the future of fintech anyway, where you don't necessarily need to have a mobile app. You just, on your social media, you can make payment because fintech finance has been embedded in it, right? I need to be able to agree and withdraw my my consent in terms of how I share my data.
Yeah.
So those are some of the things that CBN needs to complete. Also, the financial education part. CBN needs to meet with fintechs, meet with bank to plan to develop a proper education framework.
Yeah.
Right? Especially now, this is actually the period where a lot of people are going through hell in terms of their finance. You get, so financial education is the key, right? And this is the best time for you to learn how to manage your finance, how to prevent losses and all of those things. So yeah. So I think that's some of the things that CBN needs to work on. Fantastic.
So guys, we have learned I have learned a lot. I wonder if you have. You might be saying, why do you care so much about the unbanked? Okay, we care about the unbanked, but this is really about you, the entrepreneur. We're just here to show the opportunities that exist in this area. There's a lot to do, even though we know that just about 30% of people left, just from reports. From what we have talked about today, it shows that there's a lot to do. There's a broad spectrum of what can be done in this industry. And it's a lot of hard work, right? So we hope that you have learned a few things and that you're really ready to put in the work. You're ready to put in that hard work in order to ensure that you can grasp the opportunity, you can grab the opportunity that exists in this industry. It's huge, and we guarantee that, it's huge. So you should look into it. Thank you for joining us today, guys. For more, make sure you visit Palooza on IG, TikTok, Twitter, and visit bodpod.com for all of your best podcasts. Thank you so much. Adios.